The room fell silent as two towering figures of American politics, men who have stood on opposite sides of history's fiercest battles, were suddenly connected by a moment no one expected. It wasn't a rally chant. It wasn't a fiery debate. It was something far more human. And what happened next left supporters, critics, and even longtime political observers stunned. In a surprising and emotionally charged moment, former President Donald Trump delivered a powerful tribute to the legendary civil rights leader, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Known for decades as a force of nature in American activism and politics, Jackson has long been a central figure in the fight for racial equality and social justice. And yet, hearing Trump speak with admiration about him was not something many people had on their political bingo cards. The tribute came during a public appearance that was already drawing national attention. Cameras were rolling, reporters were on edge, and supporters were waiting for the usual political fireworks. But instead of launching straight into policy or criticism, Trump paused. His tone shifted, and then he began speaking about Reverend Jackson, not as a partisan rival, not as a political symbol, but as a man whose presence shaped generations. Trump described Jackson as a force of nature, a phrase that carries weight when you consider the life and legacy of the man he was honoring. Reverend Jesse Jackson, the founder of the Rainbow Push Coalition and a two-time Democratic presidential candidate, has spent decades at the forefront of civil rights battles, from marching alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to advocating for marginalized communities across the nation. Jackson's influence has been undeniable. His booming voice, commanding presence, and relentless advocacy earned him respect, even from those who disagreed with his politics. For Trump to publicly acknowledge that impact was striking, he spoke about Jackson's resilience, his ability to command a room, and the passion he brought to every cause he embraced. Trump emphasized that regardless of political differences, there are individuals whose strength and determination cannot be ignored. In that moment, it felt less like a political speech and more like a rare pause in the constant noise of division. But just as the audience settled into this unexpected tone of unity, the mood shifted again. Trump, known for blending praise with pointed commentary, pivoted. After honoring Jackson's legacy, he appeared to contrast it with former President Barack Obama. Without holding back, Trump suggested that while Jackson had fought openly and boldly for his beliefs, others in leadership had failed to deliver on promises to the communities they claimed to represent. The mention of Barack Obama reignited the political tension in the room. Trump implied that despite Obama's historic presidency as the first black president of the United States, tangible improvements for many struggling communities had not matched the soaring rhetoric of hope and change. It was a familiar critique from Trump, who has often positioned himself as a disruptor of what he calls establishment politics. The swipe at Obama quickly made headlines. Supporters applauded the bluntness, arguing that Trump was highlighting uncomfortable truths about political promises and results. Critics, however, accused him of using a tribute to Jackson as a platform to score political points. The contrast between the heartfelt acknowledgement of Jackson and the sharp critique of Obama created a moment layered with emotion, admiration, and controversy all at once. What made the situation even more compelling was the symbolism. Reverend Jesse Jackson has been a key figure within the Democratic Party for decades, often aligned with progressive causes. Trump, a Republican known for his combative political style, praising Jackson publicly was a reminder that politics is rarely as black and white as headlines suggest. Relationships, respect, and recognition can cross party lines, even when ideologies clash. Observers noted that Trump and Jackson have had interactions dating back many years, including moments in New York political circles before Trump entered the White House. While their political philosophies differ significantly, there have been instances where they found common ground on economic empowerment and urban development. That shared history may have added depth to Trump's words, making the tribute feel more personal than purely strategic. The reaction online was immediate and intense. Social media platforms lit up with clips of the speech, dissected frame by frame. Some viewers focused on the sincerity in Trump's voice as he described Jackson's larger-than-life presence. Others zeroed in on the transition to Obama, debating whether it overshadowed what could have been a unifying moment. Political analysts pointed out that moments like this reveal the complex layers of American leadership. Tributes, especially across ideological divides, can humanize even the most polarizing figures. At the same time, the ever-present current of rivalry ensures that no political stage remains entirely free from contrast or competition. For many in the audience, the most striking part of the speech was the acknowledgement of Jackson's enduring legacy. Reverend Jesse Jackson, now in the later years of his life, has faced health challenges in recent times, making public appearances increasingly meaningful. Seeing him recognized as a towering figure, regardless of party, served as a reminder of how far the civil rights movement has come and how much work remains. Trump's tribute underscored an important truth. Influence is not confined to party lines. Leaders can disagree fiercely on policy and still recognize strength, determination, and impact. Whether one views the moment as genuine respect, political strategy, or a mixture of both, it undeniably captured attention. And perhaps that was the most powerful aspect of the entire episode. In an era dominated by division, a brief moment of acknowledgement, however complicated, stood out. It sparked conversation not just about Trump or Obama, but about legacy, leadership, and the unpredictable intersections of American politics. As the speech concluded and the cameras faded, one thing was clear. This was not just another routine political appearance. It was a reminder that politics is as much about personality and history as it is about policy. It was a moment that blended tribute with tension, respect with rivalry, and whether it will be remembered as a sincere salute to a civil rights icon or as another chapter in the ongoing saga of political sparring, one thing is certain: people are still talking about it.